I saw little Al, he goes, "You punted me." I said, little Al. He said, "You punted me." I said, "Well, you know, what can you do?"
Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than three-dimensional services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust three-dimensional services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman brand, and on down the list. So come see us, Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.
Hello and a warm welcome to the Mission Foods Speed Tour, penultimate round of the series for TA2 at VIR. And yes, the championship very much on the line with just 2 rounds to go. Well, Adam Andretti alongside me. You've been at close quarters with Rafa. What's it going to take this weekend?
Well, you know, Rafa Matos is a consummate professional. He's won so many championships. If you want to just get a dive into that, just look at his helmet livery for this year that he had done. I think it's 20 or 25 years racing in the United States, and it's just littered with championships. So he knows exactly what he needs to do. He's already started the weekend off really well through our practices and such. So looking for a strong performance out of Rafa today, and then everything kind of takes care of itself after that.
What about the VIR circuit? What's it like to race?
Well, Johnny, VIR is definitely a favorite of all of us drivers. It is super technical. It also separates the brave from the unbrave, right? Because you're going to hit those S's at top speed, full on the gas, top of 4th gear, and you can't lift. You have to stay on that all the way through the S's to the top, and then it gets even busier. Got to get back on the brakes to get it around the left-hander that comes right after it. And then you come to this section right after here, right after turn 1, this little section here, a lot like a street course, just you don't have the consequences if you get it wrong. But it is very, very technical and a lot of fun to drive. Every driver here feels the same way about VIR.
What about how the mindset of someone like Rafa goes for it? He's obviously going for back-to-back titles. He knows this and how to do it. But what does he play it? How does he play it here? Does he play it cautiously because he's got that lead and wants to keep it? Or does he go for it and try and win it here?
You know, TA2, you can't be cautious. You know, you got to go for it. And we're going to see the same thing out of Thomas Merrill, right? He's right there on the heels. Thomas is on a hot streak. That Cope car is performing, and they're on their way. So looking for a strong performance out of Thomas to take this thing all the way to COTA for us as well. So very formidable competitor there in Thomas Merrill. And I've never shared a tent with him, so I don't quite know what's going on inside Thomas's head, but I know he's very strong between the years, and he'll put on a strong performance today, I'm sure of it.
Well, just 12 points the difference between Rafa Matos and Thomas Merrill. But in terms of championships, Merrill has yet to win. He's hungry. And of course, as we said, Matos is looking for his 3rd title and back-to-back. He spoke to Ben earlier.
Thanks, gentlemen. I'm here with Rafa Matos, and I know Rafa loves Virginia International Raceway. You wrapped up 2 championships here in TA2. It is still mathematically possible, but points are tight, Rafa.
Yeah, different than last year. We're a little bit tighter this year, 12 points, not a lot, but you know, I think the difference between both championships, last year we won 6 races out of 12. This year we won 2 races, and we unfortunately DNF at Road Atlanta, which was the 2nd race of the year. So we kind of played a catch-up game up until that point, and we regained the points lead towards the middle of the season, and we held our position here. I always said that if we're able to keep ourselves up front at the final part of the championship, we have a shot of winning this thing, you know. But different than last year, it's been a year of, you know, finishing races, making sure I collect the points and bring the car in one piece and being consistent, you know. And it proves that, you know, in order to win this championship, you have to be consistent.
Usually I'm used to seeing you on the podium or winning the race, but this season it seems like sometimes the car hasn't been there and you have to be happy with a 5th place, but you know how to win championships. And in TA2, with it being so tight, that seems to be your strategy in winning this year's.
It seems that the competition has picked up a bit of speed, and sometimes I think we missed a little bit, but I think we kept ourselves competitive for most part of the championship, and that's why we're here right now. But it's certainly, to win one of these races nowadays is getting more difficult by the day.
Yeah. Now, new driver lineup in 3-dimensional services with Boris Jr. You've got Mike Skeen on track, but not a teammate this weekend. It's going to be kind of iffy and dicey out there for you. What's your strategy there?
Well, we're having a lot of fun with Boris Sr. and Jr. I'm also a big fan of Boris. I always follow his career, especially in NASCAR. Even when I was back in Brazil in the early 2000s, you know, I remember seeing him on TV, and now Junior comes on board, and the kid it's awesome. He's a fast driver, and I'm here to help him, to guide him, to coach him, and he's being very receptive about my guidance. And you know, it's nice to see that, you know, we have some pedigree in the team, and you know, I'm here to help him, and hopefully he will get a top 10, even a top 5 is possible. Let's see what he does in the qualify session this afternoon, and hopefully we'll get a good result.
Well, gentlemen, if anybody knows how to win a championship in TA2, a hard-fought championship, it's 2-time champion Rafa Matos. Let's see if he can wrap it up at Virginia International Raceway for the 3rd time.
So, welcome to live pictures from VIR. Slightly cloudy, but it's a beautiful day here in Virginia International Raceway. Alongside me, as always, Adam Andretti. Looking forward to this one. Interesting hearing from Rafa there. Seems to me he's got a lot on his plate. He's trying to win a championship. He's trying to teach people to drive. He's trying to get some support. I don't know. It just seems to me that he needs to concentrate on him right now, because he's got the championship to win, and it's there for 3-dimensionals to take.
Absolutely, and 100%. And you know, you have very formidable competitors that are there on the attack, right, and ready for it. Thomas Merrill over there at Mike Cope Racing, and you also obviously have Connor Mosak that we see on picture here, right on cue, who is absolutely on a roll, sitting on the pole for us here today. So, yeah, you're absolutely right, Jonathan Green. He needs to definitely stay focused on what Rafa Matos has to do, because Connor Mosak, that's all he has to focus on is Connor Mosak and what he needs to do to get this job done here today. And he's doing it from the best spot on there. Same thing with Thomas Merrill. You know, Thomas does take on a lot throughout the weekend as well. He does a lot of coaching, and a lot of mad respect for all these guys. I love racing with them, and it's going to be a heck of a show for us today, Jonathan Green, especially with the championship on the line.
Yeah, Connor Mosak, definitely the man to watch, without a doubt, because, of course, pole position last time out, and he got his first win at Watkins Glen. Conditions not that easy there at all, but he did a great job of taking the win at Watkins Glen. And, yeah, I'm interested to see how he goes from pole position again here. In terms of, in fact, the last 9 winners, let me just take you through them. Rafa Matos last year. Here are 2 youngsters who haven't won here, and there's a slightly more experienced fella between them.
Yeah, there's the boss man, Tony Perella there, giving the couple young guns some words of wisdom. You love. One of the best things about being a Trans Am driver on the grid here is Tony Perella comes and greets each one of us, wishes us a good race, and these are 3 special young talents here that you have in Evan Slater, Connor Zilich, and Brent Cruz. This is the epitome of young gun racing, epitome of Trans Am and TA2 competition. Evan Slater, I think, is having his best weekend that he's enjoyed in the Trans Am series, and you know, Zilich, he took us by storm here last year.
Yeah.
When he came in and just absolutely threw that thing on an absolute amazing pole position, and so he's got a lot more racing experience under his belt now in TA2, so he'll be formidable. So there's not only the top three for the championship, Jonathan Green, but it's everybody in this field. I've been bragging about this in TA2 is they're 15 deep. And you see this man right here, Mike Skeen, ready to take on the battle as well. One of the best racers, period. He's a top 1%er. He is just such a talented man, and he's going to definitely put it to him today, too. He's with his old group that he won the championship with. You see one of them in the background there, Dave, with the hairdo. And but, yeah, this is a great group. They know him real well, and he knows them. And it's going to be another strong run for this guy.
Yeah, Mike Skeen going into a different team this weekend. How hard is that for any driver?
Well, for him, you know, it's not really hard for him because it plugs him right in, right? He, like I said, these are the guys, the men that are spinning the wrenches on that. You know, Jimmy Frazier and Norm and Dave. Those are the guys that not only brought Gar Robinson to championships at Robinson Racing, but also won a championship with Mike Skeen at Stevens Miller. So they're there in the MMR race car. They're the 00. This is not the same car that Dylan Archer's been in. That car's owned by somebody else. But a lot of mixing up. It shows how much health and how dignified Trans Am is in the TA2 series, because we have a serious silly season. There's a lot of driver changes going on and a lot of new opportunities coming up, and we're seeing it at the end of this year. So it just shows the health of the TA2 series and Trans Am. Just really proud to be part of it.
You mentioned Dylan Archer going to a new team in Showtime. That's been something that's been in the making for the last couple of rounds. He seems pleased. I spoke to him. It's a whole new setup for him, but a move in the right direction for him?
Absolutely. You know, Ken Twaits, he's building a wonderful operation over there at Showtime. Ken is a winning mindset. I've known Ken for more than 20 years. Everything he attacks with a winning mindset, and he takes on nothing less. He doesn't accept anything less. So, yeah, going into that operation and bringing along Alan Davison with FPEC and that whole group. Yeah, Dylan's in a great place, and he's a wonderful young man. I mean, we love being around Dylan Archer. He's a good, clean racer out there. So this is definitely his opportunity. He knows it, he feels it, and he is poised and excited about it.
Okay, well, with that, thank you, Adam. As always, Adam Andretti giving us the insight that we need from Trans Am, and he'll be with me throughout the weekend. Let's head down now to Ben Sissel, who's down on the pre-grid.
Hey, thanks, guys. So glad to be here on the grid at Mission Foods VIR SpeedTour with a Trans Am legend, one of my heroes, Boris Said, who's actually here racing with a future Trans Am legend. Boris Said, how did this all come about?
Well, it was a surprise. I mean, Boris has been racing the SCCA for the last 2 years in Spec Miata, and Doug Peterson, who owns Three Dimensional Services, he called up and he's looking for a young American. He's done a lot for this sport over the last few years, and he does a lot for Trans Am. So when I got the call they were going to test him and see how he'd do in the car, I wasn't sure. But we went and tested last week. He did his first day in a big high horsepower car, and he did great. So, me and his mom are really proud of him. And so far, so good this weekend. He's an A+. So hopefully he can get through this race. I told him it's like a pack of Doberman pinchers with hand grenades in their mouth. So you got to be a little careful. Nice. A lot of stuff's going to happen.
I love it. All right, so now put your son through the ringer. Grab the mic and interview your son.
So what are your feelings? This is your first race in a big car with a lot of really fast guys like Rafa Matos has been helping you. What do you feel like?
I mean, a little nervous, but I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun, it's just something different, my first, I guess you could call it a real race, so just excited to see how it goes.
And you should thank maybe your mom and your dad and Doug Peterson.
Yeah. And this would not be possible without, Doug Peterson. It's his car, he put me in it, and obviously you taught me almost everything, my mom, for supporting me.
I learned that from Michael Waltrip, so good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Nice. Now, let me just point out something. For all the said heads, you need to get the afro wig again, but I think now you need to go a little bit lighter hair. Would you agree?
Well, he's younger. Mine's getting dark and old, so he's the next generation.
Nice. Well, Boris said, good luck out there, gentlemen. I'm going to send it back to you.
Yeah, it's uncanny. They look too alike for my liking, but as confident as his dad, and, the said family continues. Boris said Sr.'s father raced, and now Boris said's son, Junior, is also racing. And I think he's got a good chance, but it is a bit of a baptism of fire, good or bad, to come in at this level having just done Miatas.
Oh, if you're ready, you're ready, and the kid's obviously ready. We saw it with Connor Zillitz last year, again, to bring that name up as well, and we've seen it with Brent Cruz, another one, that just comes in and is ready. These kids they're given these opportunities younger and younger, and I think it's fantastic. I even had this conversation with Brent yesterday, and he understands the gravity of the situation, that he's living in the right time, because there was a time in an era, Johnny Green, when we grew up, that at age 14 you were in karting. You were going to be in karting until you were 17, 18 years old, and then they were going to bring you into the big cars. And Max Verstappen being in Formula One at age 17, and so all these young guns coming up and through. So yeah, absolutely, Boris Jr. is ready. He's in the wheelhouse, and we all look for great things out of that young man.
Well, we'll see what he can do in his baptism of fire. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with more.
At Ryan, we seek to understand our clients' unique business needs and offer insights from over 75 years of experience. Our menu of integrated services span the entire life cycle of your building, from financing and development to design and construction to property management and maintenance. We think like building owners because we are building owners, and we work hard to assure that your building stays functional and cost-effective for generations to come.
My name is Monse, and I am a senior at Cristo Rey. We bring high school students and corporations together to transform education. I work 1 day a week at Ryan Companies. There are Cristo Rey schools serving students across the country. Visit CristoRayNetwork.org and learn how you can become a corporate partner today.
All right, welcome back. I'm on the grid with two-time TA2 champion and the only TA2 driver to win twice at Virginia International Raceway. What is it about VIR that makes it so competitive?
Man, it's just such a tough track. You just got so many challenges, high speed, low speed, jumping curbs throughout the S's. So it's just it's really, you're fighting the track the whole time. Plus you throw 50 TA2 cars out on track at the same time, and it's just mayhem out there. So you just got to hang on, and whoever can do it the best for 31 laps is going to win.
Nice. All right, well, Cameron Lawrence, good luck out there. Everybody's getting in their cars. Jonathan, I'm going to send it back up to you to walk us through the grid.
Yeah, Cameron Lawrence, one of many winners here, including the man sat next to me, Adam Andretti, back in 2014, so we'll hear about that. But let's take a look at the grid as it stands. Connor Mosack in pole position with a 148.8. Thomas Merrill, both these men going for the championship. Rafa Matos where he needs to be. He's on the second row. Evan Slater is alongside him. Then it's Brent Cruz and Connor Zilic. Always excitement when these two are racing. The two youngsters, 5th and 6th. Mike Skeen starts 7th alongside Tyler Casera. Scott Borchetti's having a good run. He's 9th. Cameron Lawrence, who we just spoke to, is 10th. Noaker, 11th. Barco, 12th. Then Boris Said Jr. outqualifies the old man. And Adrian Lostowski's alongside him. Keith Prochuk is in 15th position. Dylan Archer, with that new team, is in 16th position. Boris Said, the older man, is in 17th position in the 86 car. Alongside him, Darren Mock, Elias Anderson of Texas, and then Annunciatio in 20th position. Aaron Pettipas in 21st, the Canadian. Then Doug Peterson, 22nd. Bose, Leesfield, Sheehan, and Durbin, 25th and 26th. Then Phillips and Maurice Hull, 28th. Then it's Cal Phillips and Reese Hull, I mentioned, John Atwell and Jim Gallagher, and then Michelle Abate in her first time out here at the circuit. And Ty Young rounds out 32nd place. Patrick Paul, then Jim Gallagher, and then Jeffrey Birdwell and William Moore. Ricky Sanders and Patrick Ook coming in this weekend in the Race-Whip driven Race Oil Chevrolet Camaro. So, perfect conditions, and Adam, I mentioned that you've won this race back in 2014. What's the key to winning here?
Cameron said it. You got to stay clean. You got to be there at the end of this 100 miles, and it's tough to do at this place. It's such a challenge. It's slick. The surfaces got some low grip areas. You're, like Cameron said, you're jumping curbs, so it likes to kick the brake pads away from the rotor, so you got to do some brake pumps at some critical times. So you just have to be 100% on it the whole 31 laps, the whole 100 miles, and that's a challenge no matter where you go. But yeah, for us in 2014, we needed to win here to take the championship to the last round. And that's what we see here, right? We see so much of that going on here. And we had to drive from the tail because I made a mistake in qualifying and flat spotted the tires. And we had to put all 4 new tires on, and we drove from the tail and ended up winning this race. But we're going to see, there's 40 cars out here. This is going to be a lot of excitement.
Yep, and talking of excitement, Ben Sissel is down on the grid. Down to Ben.
Well, welcome back to the grid. Something I really want to point out here. First of all, this is Rafa Matos, first in points. He could wrap up the championship today, but he's 3rd starting. Our 2nd in points is Thomas Merrill, who's starting 2nd. Our 3rd in points, right behind him, is Connor Mosack in 1st. We'll get to him. So it's like a flip of the championship lead. That's how close it is in TA2. I'm not sure what happened here, but take a look at this. We are in Alton, Virginia, beautiful Virginia International Raceway. It looks like somebody had to make a trip to the local Home Depot or Lowe's to get that, to put that on. That looks like some last-minute fixes there with 3-dimensional. But Rafa Matos always super fast here. He knows how to win championships. He's last year's champion. He's a 2-time champion in TA2. Somebody that's really been hunting down a TA2 championship, running the full season with us this year, is Thomas Merrill. Mid-season, he had a really good run, getting on the top of the podium many times. Thomas is 2nd in points. Thomas, I'm going to scream to you, buddy. You're really going for a championship here, Thomas. What's your strategy here to get more points at VIR?
Well, the position that we're in, we just have to do as well as we can and get the most out of every point. So qualifying in the top 3 helps. We get bonus points for that. And then we just got to finish well. If I can win the last 2 races, then I'm in a good shot for the championship.
Nice. Well, there you go. It's as simple as that. He says, if I can just win the last 2 races, which are here, the Mission Foods VIR SpeedTour, and then we go to the Mission Foods COTA SpeedTour in Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas. Now, if you've been paying attention to TA2 last year, Thomas finished 2 races without this door. So this is Mike Cope's fix. It looks like another trip to just the local hardware store there. That's been on there for a few races, and he's had no door problems. Then we come up here to Connor Mosack, who loves Virginia International Raceway. He's just in the Charlotte area. This isn't a far drive for him. The most Motul Pole Awards, including yesterday, VIR Motul Pole Award winner. Connor Mosack, quickly, what's your strategy at the green flag drop?
Yeah, I feel like we've got a really fast car, at least on the short runs. I'm not too confident in our long run speed, but hopefully it'll be there. So, just take the lead here on the first lap and keep everything clean, and, hopefully we are able to stay up front and keep this thing clean to the end.
I love it. Well, Connor Mosak, and something else I want to point out here is we have a Howe chassis with Rafa Matos, a Cope chassis with Thomas Merrill, and an SLR. So in the top three are the three chassis manufacturers. Adding to the drama here, all these chassis manufacturers want to win a TA2 championship. But speaking of the paddock here, we've got a lot of cars here, but I keep seeing these Buzz bikes going around, and they're really comfortable electric-powered bikes. We've got Chris Parlett here. Chris, what do you do at Buzz Bikes?
I am the director of marketing with United Wheels and in the Buzz e-bike brand.
Well, whatever you're doing is working, because I've seen a ton of these here in our paddock. You're set up, you're selling them. They're so much fun to drive. We've got all these TA2 cars. Now, when you told your friends you're coming to a Trans Am race at VIR, how did you describe this?
Well, at first I told him it was really boring because I didn't want to make him jealous. I said we're going to be working hard, selling a lot of e-bikes, and then when we get back to the office and showing off to our friends, we just show all the branded Buzz e-products or scooters and bikes all throughout the track, getting around the paddock.
Nice. All right, well, Chris Parlett with Buzz Bikes. I'm going to give you the mic to deliver the most famous words in motorsports. Chris, take it away.
On behalf of all the employees at United Wheels and the Buzz e-bike brand, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines!
So with that, we are underway. And I also want to introduce Austin Green joining us for the race. Welcome aboard, along with Adam Andretti and myself, Jonathan Green. We're getting ready for what should be a really interesting race and a pivotal one for the championship.
Absolutely, Jonathan Green. As we've been talking about, this is what we're all here to just get excited about and watching. And I want to point out to the viewers at home, this is Austin Green, Jonathan Green, no relation.
Yeah, one's fast, the other isn't.
Yeah, Austin Green, actually, it's my brother John and your father David spent a lot of time in NASCAR together. You're second-generation driver of David Green, so it's glad to have you up here in the booth, Austin. Your first experience at TA2 was last round in Watkins Glen, right? What were your thoughts?
Yes, sir. It's great to be here, first of all. First time I watched pretty interesting, but Trans Am is, I fell in love with the Trans Am since my first race, and I'm looking forward to the good race today.
What's the plan for you?
Just trying to find a ride and try to get some sponsorship and hopefully go full time next year.
That's it, man. That's what we're all trying to do, right? So good for you. I hope everything works out for you. As we watch Evan Slater here having a great weekend, as I said, one of our young guns. He's qualified up there in P4 right behind the champion Rafa Matos, getting himself nice and warmed up and ready for this 100 miles. And then Tyler Casera there, and the Stevens Miller Liqui Moly Chevrolet Camaro doing a wonderful job as well. As always, holding a pretty wheel there is Tyler Casera. One of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. The great family, the Casera family in the paddock, always got great smiles on their face. And I know he's working hard too to make sure he's secure for 2023 as well. Got on board Scott Borchetta here, the Big Machine Vodka Spiked Coolers. This is a Ford Mustang, and Scott Borchetta, he's our newest member, I believe, of the Masters category. And with these last two rounds, Jonathan Green, he could actually take the Masters championship with this being 4 rounds of being a Masters, which is pretty incredible because that shows what kind of performance he has.
Yeah, no question. If that's the case, well, it's been a hell of a year. I'm also looking at Cameron Lawrence. It's been a funny year for Cameron. He's been up and down. And, yeah, it's just... I just hope he can get that third win here. That's what I'm hoping for.
Absolutely. That'd be great for Showtime and Franklin Road Apparel. And Cameron, I know the fight is always in him. He's always seeing red, if you will, as we're on board with the FPEC on board of Dylan Archer and his new ride. Right behind the HP tuner, Mike Cope Racing of Keith Prochuk is who he's going to start the back bumper of on these warm-up laps. I believe I didn't show up at the drivers' meeting this morning, but my guess is it's going to be one warm-up lap. It's a long lap around here, so I'm guessing that they're going to do this one lap and come right to green. What do you think, Austin?
Yeah, I think everybody's just getting ready and just warming up their tires and make sure everything's good. And yeah, just looking forward to a good race and proud to be up here in the booth with y'all. Right on. Well, it's good to have you for sure. As we look here, there's Boris Said, looking right into the eyes of the man himself. Boris Said, the great champion, American motorsports. Oh, globally, for that matter. He's got lots of laps around places like the Nürburgring and here at VIR. You'll see him also in action tomorrow in TA2 race in the Pancho Weaver Dodge. Get on board here with Barry Bowes and his Ford Mustang. It's always a beautiful looking car. Got that kind of pettyish blue, if you will, and always has a nice presence with Barry Bowes in there as they're getting these things nice and warmed up, ready for this 100 miles, Jonathan Green.
Yeah, just to remind you, we are going to have 2 pace laps in all.
Is it 2?
So, yeah, so we're going to do a second lap, and I don't know if that makes any difference to either of you, but I suppose it gives you a little bit more time to get those tyres up to pace. And there are the previous winners. We've got 9 in all. Scott Lagasse Jr. Many still involved, of course. Mark Miller moving on to IMSA. But as you see, Mike Skeen involved. Cassera got his first win here. Did Tyler Cassera bounced onto the scene. And I mentioned the fact that Adams already won here back in 2014.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool day here. Like this is definitely our coolest ambient temperature day. So I'm sure there's not a lot of track temperature. So I'm guessing that that's what the Trans Am officials decided this morning. Was let's give them 2 laps, make sure that we got plenty of temperature inside these things, because you got to have good tire temperature inside those Pirelli tires before we go sailing off here into turn 1 with 40 of these just ready to go to battle, of these TA2 cars ready to go battle. You see, it looks like Brent Cruz got himself a new front nose just like Rafa Matos after qualifying yesterday.
Yeah, that's a question for you. Why that new front nose?
Well, you know, honestly, the nose is the first thing that the air hits. So if there was something that was going to cause an aero inefficiency when you're at this level, you got to take kind of every precaution and make sure that you're doing everything there. But who knows? You never know what's going on. You know, you go to the room and doom after qualifying with Ricky Brooks, and Ricky might have found something in those noses he didn't like, and that's why they went to new noses. Who knows? That's a great question and something that maybe we can dig into later. Ben Sizzle might be able to find us some info on that. But nonetheless, it's obvious that those two are definitely have new body parts on to get this 100 miles done today.
So we're about to get underway. The Honda Civic will lead them round. This is a massive race for Conor Mosak, a really, really big race, because he can change the championship here, and it's by no means.
Yeah, he's only 14 behind when the green flag drops here because he got those 2 extra bonus points up on Rafa. I think he came in 16 behind Rafa. So only 14 behind, and this makes Merrill only 11 behind Rafa at the drop of this green. So, yes, it's very, very exciting, very, very tight racing for sure.
So, the field winds through the S's. And we get ready for what should be a showdown here at the penultimate venue. And there's some great stories, including this man, Tyler Cassera. What can he do from where he is? He knows in that Liquid Moly 77 car that if he can get it right. I spoke to him yesterday, Tyler. He had a broke splitter brace and therefore didn't get into the first qualifying group. But he says he'll be okay once he gets racing.
Yeah, he's had a really strong weekend up until that happened. So, you know, he showed a lot of speed right off the bat, right when they unloaded off the truck, and then they started to have the small problems like you spoke of there, Johnny. And now it seems to be cleaned up, and he's going to have himself a good race, it looks like. And we always look for great things out of Tyler Cassera. Always wish him the best.
Well, as you can see, they are lining up together now and tightening up the field. Austin Green and Adam Andretti alongside me, Jonathan Green, as we get ready to go racing for our penultimate round of TA2 2022, and we are looking forward to this one. Big day. What can Rafa Matos do from 3rd place? All the leaders are where they need to be, but we've been shown in the past it's not always the guys going for the championship. This is the time where you kind of maybe get a little cautious because the championship's on the line, and one big mistake can end it all.
Well, I can tell you 3 people right up front that aren't going to have caution, and they're going to throw it to the wind. And that's going to be your Evan Slater, Brent Cruz, and Connor Zillage. A few of the young guns back there really have nothing to lose with this championship, and they all just want to win races. Now, Evan Slater's a really, really bright young man, so I don't expect anything crazy out of any of these guys. But they're going to come to the green here, Jonathan.
Here we go then, down the hill, down towards Hog Bend. Off comes the pace car. And it's a big, important start for Mosak and Merrill. They've been head-to-head many a times. Mosak won the battle last time out at Watkins Glen. What can he do here at Virginia? And away they go! Good start from Mosak. They head down to the horseshoe for the first time. Everybody gets away well. And it's Mosak who leads. Merrill will have to go round the outside.
There is good grip on the outside. Yep, there is good grip on the outside of turn 1, right where Mosak's at, or right where Merrill's at, around Mosak. That's going to give him the best run into turn 3 here. So let's see if Merrill's going to get this done and take the lead here into turn 3, as it looks like he's gonna. Yeah, Merrill kept his foot in nicely, and he is going to take the lead through NASCAR. Brilliantly done. Rafa Matos was patient. Really good stuff by him. He stays in 3rd as they go through Snake for the first time, bouncing over the curves. And a good start. Yeah, Mike Skeen was not patient. He's coming through the field, as we know Mike Skeen to do. He's right behind Evan Slater. Got himself a great start there as we're on board with Rafa Matos in P3 behind. Yeah, the last thing that Matos is wanting to see is Mike Skeen taking points off him, but never mind, that's the way it goes. But Matos in 3rd and where he needs to be. Sadly, Baku parked up in the Berriman Challenger. The 01 car parked up. I hope it's out of the way, though, and we don't have to deal with that. Yeah, it looks like Mike Skeen has already even made more headway up, even teasing with that podium. I think he might be right behind Rafa Matos now as we go on board. Cameron Lawrence is right behind Robert Noacker. Oh, there's trouble for the youngster. Boris said Jr. seems to have found the tire wall. Yeah, that's an early incident, and he's hit it hard. Yeah, that's not. He looks okay in there, so that's the positive. Always the human side of it. He's very upset. Obviously, very, very upset about what's going on there, and you know, just like his dad said, just trying to get through this. The Doberman pitchers with hammers in their mouths. I thought it was a great way to put it. Well, let me ask both of you, when you first start racing these things, what's the kind of thing that can go wrong quickly?
You know, especially with Trans Am, it's all about survival. You know, they're long races, and you're not really saving, so it's just 100% the whole time. So the key to win these is just keep your nose clean, save your equipment, and just try to be there at the end when it counts.
Yeah, good advice, but it hasn't worked out for Boris Said Jr. He's parked it up already, and I wonder if there's going to be a safety car. And there is. Caution is out. Yeah, we're full course caution here. On board with Evan Slater. Love that onboard shot head on at the youngster there. Out of the young, this young man has really, really excited me throughout the paddock. Racing with him has been so much fun this year. He's extremely clean. His dad even described it when we first talked. I think at Charlotte. He goes, my son is just a calculated person. He will not put it in there if he doesn't know he can't make it stick. And I tell you what, I follow through. It's rarely you hear a dad say something about their kids and they're right. Right. And he nailed it because Evan races that way. It's really great to see him up front here and battling up front where he should be. It's going to be fun to watch him as we're on board here with Scott Borchetta too. Nobody gets more laps around a racetrack on a weekend than this guy, and it's awesome. You see the hard work he puts in. It's no different than any way he attacks his business life. You know, just all wide open, full bore. So it's a great race up in the front. Thomas Merrill doing exactly what he needs to do in that Mike Cope Racing car. He is up front leading laps because there's bonus points at play. He got 2 bonus points for being second. He got himself a lap bonus point. Now if he leads the most laps, he's going to walk away here 4 extra bonus points. On top of it, if he can hang on to this thing for the rest of 100 miles. So speaking to him before the race, he felt very good in his chances, loves his race car, and you know, really, really happy with where they're sitting, I'm sure, right now. So just to confirm, we've got a little bit of respite under caution as Boris Said Jr. hits the wall heavily. Thomas Merrill leads the way. He got the lead at the first corner by going all the way around the outside, and this is going to be a long clear-up by the looks of things. Connor Mosak stays second, and Rafa Matos stays third. Brent Cruz and Mike Skeen, 4th and 5th. Watch out for them. Evan Slater started well. He's 6th. Connor Zillage is 7th. Tyler Casera, 8th. And Robert Noacker, 9th. And rounding out the top 10, 2-time winner here at VIR, Cameron Lawrence. We were on board with Scott Borchetters. We're on board now with Dylan Archer. Archer currently in 14th position in his new team. He's with the Showtime team this weekend for FPEC. We'll be on board with him, the youngster from Texas.
Yeah, Dylan's doing an awesome job. A great kid, another great kid just to be around. I love that this Young Guns program came in, and huge commend DJ and the gang and Trans Am for bringing that on board and supporting that. Because what's awesome about it is all the talent we get to talk about Johnny Green. We've got all this fresh talent. There's something to fight for here, and we got one of them sitting up here with us, Austin Green, and. I got to ask you, Austin, was the Young Guns something that really brought your attention to TA2, or were there other things as well?
I've always loved road course racing, and in 2021 I got the opportunity to run at Road America, and I knew of Trans Am and how good of a series it was, and so I figured give it a shot, and ever since then I can't get away from it.
It kind of does that to us, doesn't it? My brother and your dad raced go-karts together. That's how long they raced together, all the way and made it to the top level of American motorsports and NASCAR at the Cup level. And so it's awfully fun, I know, to watch you come along and things like that. But talk about some of the challenges too. When you're second generation, it's a lot to live up to, and you're almost right out of the box expected to do things that perform miracles, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, and you and I both know, we can always lean on our family and try to pick their brains, but seat time is the big thing. So the more seat time you can get, the better you'll be.
Well, guys, let's look at the start again, and we'll see it from Tyler Casera's position, because obviously it's an interesting start, because Merrill did a really good job of staying clean, going around the outside. Not easy to do here at VIR. Let's have a look at it from Casera's point.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how Thomas, stuck around on the outside there. That's the key here at VIR. I honestly, whenever I've qualified P2 here, I've drooled out of both sides of my mouth, because I find it to be the best position to be in. Honestly, when I qualify pole here, if you're allowed to pick which side to be on, I pick the outside. It's just better grip on the outside, and you can kind of pinch down the pole sitter, which it's perfectly acceptable. And Thomas did textbook stuff out there. This is why he went to Le Mans, was hired to drive at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and he's still a silver driver out there under the FIA's eyes. So I know he's really happy about that for his career moving forward. But he's doing exactly what a professional like Thomas Merrill does, and controlling the situation.
Well, let's head down to the pits. Ben's got Pettipas, the young Canadian driver.
Next time by, they're going. Yeah. I'm with Lee Pettipas, the brother and crew chief of Aaron Pettipas, what I call the Dairy Queen car, probably the most delicious-looking car out there. But you guys had an adventure getting here. You broke your crankshaft in your truck, and then what did you do?
Well, yeah, we were rolling along on Tuesday morning, had our coffees, everything was great, and all of a sudden it wasn't great. So had some really great rescue guys in Maine get us off the highway, and then contacted our buddies. Sorry. They jumped in their truck, drove all night, picked us up at 3 a.m. at the hotel, and then we drove all day to get here. So our stock car buddies Jordan Vino and Kirk Alexander came to our rescue.
Well, that's amazing. Just kind of the stories. They're stranded in Bangor, Maine, way up there, coming from Canada to fix his truck, to bring the car here, and now Aaron's out there. Gentlemen, back to you.
And that's racing for you. That is absolutely 100% what this sport is all about. It is cutthroat. It is as cutthroat as you're going to find any sport to be. But when racers need help, racers are there to help other racers. And I love to hear those kind of stories, Ben Sizzle. So thanks for bringing that, because it takes an army to get any of these race cars here. And sometimes you got to call in a few extra help to get your car here, and that's what they did. As we're on board here with Boris said. I can only imagine what went through his head, as he was driving around and seeing Junior stuck up in the fence. So it's a shame for them. I feel bad, but they'll bounce back, and there's another round at COTA and get that one done. But back up here at the front, I think I heard that we're going to go green next time by, Jonathan.
Which is good news, and I hope that, I'm sure that Boris had a wry smile when he saw youngster parked up, and you'll go, Hilden.
We've all been there. That's the thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like Austin Green's been there. Adam Andretti's been there. No, everybody has been in the position Boris Jr.'s been.
Jonathan Green's been there more times than he cares to think about. Yes.
Well, Jonathan Green just gets there in his rental car. That
I say we need to get you in a car.
I agree. I agree, and I need some help. So
you know he's really good on a one wheel. You know the motorized skateboards. I got video.
I just need 3 more.
I have video.
All right, so we are at the back of the circuit here at Virginia. The sun's starting to come out here. The perfect conditions actually for racing. And we've had a little bit of a start where Thomas Merrill got ahead and did a good job. And now he's going to try to, if he can, further that lead.
Yeah, on board Franklin Road Apparel with Cameron Lawrence. Sitting nice and comfortable there. Get the belts tight. He's getting the call. We're going green this time by. Cameron is awesome on restarts. So that's where he really takes advantage. Those are your easiest opportunities to make your passes, and Cameron is really, really sharp on those.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see who makes good starts, restarts, that is. Cameron Lawrence is one known for that. Mike Skeen is another.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But, yeah, lights are out on the pace car. Everyone's done scrubbing tires, so we're going to get this thing going right here. And I know the visors are down, the belts are tight, and it's going to be good fun.
All right, let's just remind ourselves where we stand. Thomas Merrill, the man you're looking at right now, in the number 26 for the Cope Race Car Sport Mustang. Leads the way from Conor Mosak, Rafa Matos. The championship is between those 3, but watch out for Brent Cruz, Mike Skeen, Evan Slater, Connor Zilic. Zilic taking pole here and starting his career out brilliantly this time last year. Away they go then! Merrill gets away well, but Mosak is looking up the inside. Rafa looking for a place as well.
You know, like we said earlier, Merrill's not afraid to leave a little bit of that inside open there in turn 1 because it's going to find the advantage here out of turn 2 into 3. And he's going to probably hang on to this advantage and carry that lead going on out of there. Evan Slater seems to be moved out of the way and lost quite a few positions there. Got freight trained quite a bit as we see Tyler Casera right on the back bumper of Brent Cruz.
Tyler Casera, we're on board with him.
Mike Skeen has gotten up to P4 right behind Rafa Matos, and I imagine Mike Skeen has got the bit between his teeth and ready to go.
Good start from Merrill. Got away well, was under pressure from Conor Mosak at the start, and now Rafa Matos under big pressure from Brent Cruz. Brent Cruz and Rafa Matos couldn't get more different in terms of their approach.
Yeah, this is good stuff here. I mean, this is what it's all about in TA2. It's like being released into the hornet's nest, isn't it, Austin Green?
Oh yeah, it's there was a big moment there out of Slater through the S's, and he's currently running P6, so good day for him so far.
Looks like Brent Cruz has struggled a little bit with forward bite. I had a conversation with Brent yesterday, and that was his struggle after qualifying was forward bite. He seemed to be more concerned about his corner entry, and obviously for obvious reasons he was struggling there. But right there, it seemed like he really had a hard time getting that power down. But something that Thomas Merrill's not having a hard time doing. He has definitely got himself a good piece underneath him today. Mike Cope Racing has definitely brought the equipment needed to carry out this championship.
No question about it. As we look from high above a moment ago, Merrill building on that lead, and as he passed our commentary position, it's Brent Cruz who's making the most at the moment. Into the pits comes Doug Peterson.
It looks like
Three-dimensional services group.
Got some sort of, I don't even see Doug in the car anymore. That looks like a full-on retirement. So, so far it's been a rough first 6 laps for Peterson Racing, unfortunately. But Doug Peterson seems to be out with an apparent mechanical failure.
Yeah, I think you're right. As we go back on board with Evan Slater.
So Evan seems to be fighting a lot with the wheel right there. Like he's really seems to be fighting some little handling issues, which you seem to have earlier on in these races. You know, with a full load of fuel, it's a car that we haven't felt all weekend long. We haven't had these conditions all weekend long. So I'm sure it's just some of that, just trying to get that feel out. But as the race carries on and you get lighter on fuel, these cars get to driving better and better. And Tyler Casera, and this Liqui-Moly Chevrolet Camaro, he is definitely putting it to him. He is all over Brent Cruz here, and I believe it. If he gets that run off of the back straightaway like he got before, we're going to have a good race down in those corners.
And here is the 3 of them. Brent Cruz leading this group with Tyler Casera, Evan Slater, Scott Pichetta just behind him. Cameron Lawrence, in fact, on board with him now. I'm watching Mike Skeen very closely indeed, because Skeen is trying to get past Matos, and I don't know how the Brazilian is going to deal with that, because he's been his teammate for when he's available. Skeen didn't come in for the full season, and he was there to help Rafa. That was the, well, at least that was what I was told, was the theory anyway. And right now, he's about to take a place off him.
Well, I mean, it's Mike Skeen's a racer through and through, and that's all he does. He goes out, and I'm going to take it a step level up higher with Mike Skeen. He's not only a racer, he's an assassin when it comes to being a racer. The guy does not want to finish second. He doesn't want to finish 1.5. He wants to win races, and that's all he does. So, no, Mike Skeen's got one vision this weekend, and that's to win races. He's not concerned about Rafa Matos' championship, as he's not underneath the Peterson Racing tent. He's there to win a race for MMR and those sponsors and those people that put him in the car. So, yeah, he's going to definitely go after it. You're not going to see him take anybody and look at anybody any differently. He's looking at everybody as an enemy of his today, and he's out there to win.
Scott Pichetta, of course, on the podium at Nashville, a great run. He was up against Adam Andretti for a lot of it, so Adam made him work for it, that's for sure. But good racing with Scott, and he's come on a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah, Scott has definitely gotten very, very strong, and their package has come together really well. Like I said, he puts the odometer on. He puts the miles on his odometer. That's what you have to do. Austin, we talked about that. It's seat time, seat time, seat time, seat time. And Scott sets himself up for success, and I got all the love in the world for that. He, you know, I don't begrudge anyone that's going to put in the work, and Scott definitely put in the work.
Yeah, you can tell Scott's gotten a lot better this past couple of years, and fighting for wins in the top 5. So, like you mentioned, the seat time is very crucial.
Now, as we look from high above, down that back straight, if anything, I would argue that second place, Connor Mosack, has actually taken a couple of lengths out of the leader, Merrill, in the last lap or so. Merrill got off to the races in the restart, but now look how close it is as they start heading down the roller coaster one more time. And Rafa is losing a little bit of time, but Skeen has also lost time to him. So the field's starting to spread out, but the closest man at the moment, Connor Mosack.
So I might be speculating here, but I think what I saw out of Thomas Merrill here is he went to see gauge what kind of pace he had to his competitors, and that's where that big gap came from, and now he knows what he has to do to maintain the gap he's at without abusing his equipment. But he's got a half a second in his pocket, and he knows it. And so I think right now he's just kind of calming his stuff down, making sure his brakes are there for 100 miles, making sure that he's got the best of those Pirelli tires, or with like 10 laps to go instead of in the first 10 laps.
Yeah, like I said, it's
8
all
of the 31 complete.
It's all about survival, so just save your equipment, and Thomas Merrill's doing a good job of that right now.
Austin, how much does the car change for you? I've talked to Adam about this in the past, but as the race goes on, it's 100 miles, it's a long way. Do you really feel that difference?
It's definitely noticeable at the end of a run. You can kind of adjust how bad it's going to be if you save well enough. But as we talked about sometimes, you know, that comes with experience, and I'm still learning, and you know, racing, you're always learning.
And Adam, let me put the wise head on you. Let me put you in that 28 of Connor Mosack. He's obviously pushing hard right now, but does he make the move now or just try to hustle and hassle the man in front of him?
Second place, you're in the position of putting on pressure, and that's what he wants to do. I mean,
does he want to lead?
Connor well, yeah, because you need those points. You know, it's bonus points. Like I said, these bonus points, when you look at Connor Mosack's qualifying performances, what I saw there was 15 bonus points, plus an added 5 that he gets for just leading the lap, because when you're on pole, you automatically get that lead lap point. So he got 20 bonus points just from qualifying performance. If you don't think those things have brought Connor Mosack into the game, you're wrong. That's exactly what does it, is these bonus points. That's why they're designed that way. Thomas has those bonus points in his mind because he's coming here with came in with a 12-point deficit. He gained a point yesterday in qualifying, down to 11. Gained another point. He's down to 10 points here with this. You know, this is really good. As you see Connor, as he's on target here, driving right up and around.
That was textbook, wasn't it?
That was textbook pass. Textbook, absolutely textbook pass. But, man, that was a lot of gap that he closed on a straightaway and kind of at will. That was
would you argue that Merrill really couldn't do anything in that position? I mean, he could try to fight harder, but what could he have done?
You don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize, you know, what your race is all about. So absolutely, no, he did what was smart. He let him have the outside, or let him have the inside there, was going to try and carry the outside around Connor like he had done on 2 previous occasions, but Connor's just had too much right then. So Thomas will sit back here. He'll make sure that he's watching what the 28 is doing, but that 28 is just locked on right now. Here we go. Here's a replay. It's picking up a little bit of a draft there, but man, yeah, he's back from like 2-3 car lengths back, and man, gets a monster run under the brakes. Clean downshifts, and then was able to get the power down and get out of turn 2 into 3.
Yeah, you don't see many cleaner passes than that. Nicely done. And I would have said, Austin, if I had been Mosak now, I would be putting my head down and trying to put the fastest lap in of my life, simply because if you crack it now, get a breakaway, get a 2-second gap, maybe Matos will come into play, and then you won't have to worry about Matos. You can be out there and just doing your own thing.
Well, you're kind of...
Yeah, for sure.
That's my theory.
You definitely want to get the biggest gap that you can get, and like Adam said, just try to see how far you can go, and then just kind of wind it back, save your equipment.
Yeah, Mike Skeen has lost touch with the tail end of Rafa there and has found himself into the clutches of Brent Cruz, the youngster, teenager here, 14 years old, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. And but if you talked to him in the paddock, you would think he was, you know, at least 7 years older than that, at least 3 times 7, right? But
here we
he does a great job, and he's down to the inside there of Mike Skeen and making a good clean pass as Mike will tuck in behind the youngster there and see if he can learn where he can gain a spot on him.
Yeah, you really start to gauge just how good Brent Cruz potentially could be when he eases past a Mike Skeen, who is without doubt one of the top racing drivers in the country right now.
Yeah, that was a pretty special move right there. And you know, you talk to anybody that's been in touch with Brent Cruz throughout his young career, and we all say the same thing. He's going wherever he wants to go. He's a star in the making, and it's not only his performances on track, but you just got to spend 5 minutes with the young man, you know, off track, and you realize he's just special. He's got a special way of carrying himself, and yeah, he's just going to be a star no matter what.
Rafa Matos on board with him and just biding his time in 3rd position. And Rafa's key, to me anyway, over the races I've watched him, is just to do his own thing and wait to that last 10 laps. I don't know if it's something you've talked about within the team over the season.
Rafa is very, very good at understanding these are 100-mile races and setting his car up for such. He doesn't pay attention. That's why you don't see Rafa really be that powerful qualifier. You know, he is a strong qualifier, don't get me wrong, but he's not. He works so hard on a race car, on an end of the race setup. So that's why it's not a shock to me that it's lap 10 and he's just now turning his fastest lap of the race. He just went 0.4 of a second faster than his nearest competitor. So that right there is going to make a huge, huge difference in what he does and what he does for his own psyche, right? Because now he's back there knowing that he's got a race car that he can attack with, that he can take it to these protagonists and really get into their psyche, hopefully, a little bit.
A massive field, as always, here at VIR, and the championship very much on the line. Rafa Matos looking for his back-to-back title and his 3rd in Trans Am. Got the first one in 2018 and has been with a couple of teams, but is now back to the team that he won the championship for, the 3-Dimensional Services team. His team owner, Doug Peterson, already out of proceedings, as is the youngster he threw a ride at this weekend, Boris Sett Jr.
Yeah, and, you know, just on Q2, Brent Cruz sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 lap after Rafa did. So Brent and Rafa are definitely 200 minutes. And Connor Zilic, this is sad to see that he is out. We didn't see much of anything from the drop of the green flag from a problem. Like right off from the start, you know what I mean, Austin? It's not like it for us to not have anything to talk about with Connor Zilic at VIR when the green flag dropped and we had nothing to talk about. So I'm guessing that problem happened a while ago.
Yeah, Connor Zilic, he's a great kid. He's really fast, and like Brent Cruz, he has a lot of potential in our sport, and it's unfortunate he's out for the day.
Yeah, what Boris said now.
Yeah, he was in a battle there. There's a 3-way battle here with a couple of the Coke cars there behind him. But this is a pretty good battle on for like 14th, 15th, and 16th. You got Elias Anderson and Darren Mock behind him. Darren Mock, another youngster, another generational driver, Butch Mock family. I mean, it's another great addition to the Trans Am paddock. And he's another one of these young guns I love being around. You love being around him for numerous reasons. They're just great young men like Austin sitting here, but also it makes me feel young again, right? All you guys. So especially, you know, for us, we take a lot of pride. You know, a guy like Rafa, myself, Thomas, Tyler Casera, Mike Skeen, you know, to be able to foster or to just even give you guys help and advice and to see your careers where they're going to go. It's awesome for us too, man. It really is. So it's cool to see Darren Mock in that battle there with Boris Said and Elias Anderson. He can learn a lot right there with those couple racers for sure. As we're seeing, Cameron Lawrence and Scott Borchetta
going
put
at
it down.
Yeah, and this is a top 10 battle, just inside the top 10, but Borchetta doing everything he can to hold off a two-time winner here and former Trans Am champion.
Yeah, Borchetta's got another race. He's got, you know, one of those race cars this year. I've always noticed that as the race goes on, it just gets better. But he seems to have a body rub on the left rear. Yeah, might have happened from a little bit of contact, maybe from this pass that happened here. But yeah, there's a little bit of body rub on the left rear tire that I see only when it's under a high load on the 48 car of Scott Borchetta.
Now, Adam, in a situation like that, if you were Scott Borchetta and you know there's a potential for a tire rub after the contact with Cameron, what do you do? Do you keep on running? Do you play it out?
Oh yeah, I keep on running. I'm one of those guys that I have a lot of faith in Pirelli and the tire that they built, and it's a strong, durable tire. And I've had a lot of pretty strong body rubs and some pretty big flat spot tires that I finished races on. So I've learned that lesson really early, that you ride them out. And I've learned the lesson the hard way too. I was leading the Detroit Grand Prix, the inaugural up there for TA2, and I had a tire rub and leading handily and blew a left front tire when they took the white flag. So it could go either way, but for me it's worth the gamble, because if in a 100-mile race, if you come in to look at it, your race is over.
Yeah, as a racer, you obviously want to finish and you don't want to pull in. So, you know, if that tire lets go, it's going to be an unfortunate end to his day.
You hope it's in the right spot. That's what you hope. But this is a great spot looking at Rafa there. Jonathan Green, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just watching how Nat Rafa is definitely reeling in Merrill as time goes on, and Brent Cruz is reeling him in. So we've got a top 4 battle now that's really heating up nicely.
Brent Cruz has got a little bit of a hole in his grill, or in his bodywork up in the front there, and I learned that Watkins Glen, now we had a little bit warmer of a day ambient temperature-wise at Watkins Glen, but that caused my overheating issue. So I hope that Brent doesn't end up having any other unforeseen issues from having that little bit of damage up there, but he has got himself a race car, and I think he's ready to attack.
Here we are with Rafa Matos leaning on Thomas Merrill down the back.
Tucked inside that draft. He's wanting to pull that low draft and get a good deep braking zone. But you have to be sure when you're going here into the turn 14 here, you got to be 100% sure that you're alongside to make that pass work. So, and Rafa's got so much on line here that he's not going to make that happen, especially when we're not even at the halfway point of this race.
Nope, down the roller coaster they come. It's getting thick and fast at the moment. 13 of the 31, and Rafa now starting to get the hurry up, and looks as though he wants a bit of the fight, because Brent Cruz is coming, and coming fast. Just while we're watching Rafa Matos, Brent Cruz is closing in on him, and I think Rafa knows that the one thing he doesn't want is to be fighting a 14-year-old while the other two get away. But here comes that man, and that was another textbook overtake by the track house painted car of Brent Cruz, and he's passed Rafa Matos, and he made it look easy.
That young man under the brakes is so efficient, and that, I mean, in the braking zone, Jonathan Green, that's where the gods live. You know, I mean, when you can find, that's the lap time, and it's so difficult to find it under the braking zone, and Brent Cruz just went in and just took it down. And I'll go ahead and tell you, Rafa Matos told me at the beginning of the season, Brent Cruz is the #1 go-karter in the country. So yeah, Brent was going to be a formidable competitor. And look at him. I mean, he is here and he is going, and he is on the attack.
Yeah, it just shows how quickly you can change from being a karter to a stock car racer, and that's his plan. I mean, it's interesting, like I said, as a world-class karter, to turn around and say, no, I want to do tin tops and I want to do stock car racing. It's quite an achievement, because most, world champion karters want to go single-seaters.
Absolutely, and his passion, his love is to have a roof over his head, and honestly, that's where the opportunities have been presented to him, right? TRD is fallen in love with Brent, rightfully so, and we're going to see him for a long time.
But that was a mistake.
That was a 14-year-old driving then. That was a 14-year-old Brent. That wasn't the Brent that we all know. But and he's going to make those mistakes, but that's why he's here. He's here to learn from those, and so that when he makes the next level up, that he's cleaner and polished. And I think that's what Trans Am brings in the TA2 series. We're going to polish you up. We're going to make you the best racer you can be, because you're going to have to beat Rafa Matos. You're going to have to beat Mike Skeen, Thomas Merrill, Connor Mosack. You're going to have to beat these people, and these are some of the best road racers you're going to find anywhere. Tyler Casera, throw that name in there too.
Yep. Connor Mosack's doing a good job out front. He's just done his quickest lap, and so too did Thomas Merrill. They have a gap of about 0.8 of a second between them, but they are pulled away from Brent Cruz, who is 2.3 seconds away from Mern, and then it's Rafa Matos who we're on board with now.
Yeah, and we've been caught up with this front battle because it is so interesting, but deeper down in the field, Dylan Archer in that new ride is just outside the top 10, having himself a real nice, clean race in P11. Looks like Elias Anderson got around the 86 that Boris said to get that P13, so Darren Mock is now working on the 86 that Boris said. And then deeper down in the field, as you see, we got Michelle Abate, who's making good ground, is turning her best lap times of the weekend, and she's up to P24, so making a nice run for herself as well up through the field.
Yeah, I talked to Michelle earlier in the weekend. I'd forgotten that she hadn't been to VIR before, and so she was struggling a little bit with learning it, and I said, what's the hardest part? And she said, just getting the confidence in the S's.
It is. I mean, this place is such a challenge. And it looks like Scott is, we're just on board. Looks like he's pulling fine.
Okay.
But he seems to, but I don't know if there was a mistake that was made and he's fallen back, but we'll get a better look at that. But yeah, it's definitely.
So down the roller coaster comes Scott Borchetta. That 48.
Oh, he's still in the same spot. He's right in front of Cameron Lawrence there in P8. So nothing going wrong with Scott Borchetta there. So that's good to know. Cameron there still holding tight there in P9. Getting himself.
Lawrence in 9th, as you say, coming down towards the Mission Foods turn 1.
And as we approach halfway, we got Thomas Merrill and Connor Mosack almost identical lap times that last lap. So it's going to be a good race to the finish here.
Start to slide a little bit more, though, Lawrence, now as he heads into NASCAR. Let's head down to the pit lane. Ben is down there with Brent Cruz's team.
We're here with Nitro Motorsports, owner and crew chief of Brent Cruz. What's your driver saying? He's got some front end damage.
The car's pretty good right now, so we're just trying to make some ground here. We lost a little bit of track position on one of the restarts, but he's doing well, and we're marching forward.
Well, there you go. Doesn't sound too bad, so hopefully he can hang on here. Nick Tucker, thank you, gentlemen. Back to you.
Yeah, Nick Tucker right there is one of the best minds in motorsports. You're always lucky to drive a car that he's put his brain to. So the fact that he's the owner of Nitro Motorsports, it's really exciting to watch him come on board and to see his career. And I know a lot about his career. We have a lot of the common people that are important in our lives. And so I've known of Nick Tucker and his exploits and what he's able to do. So it's incredible to see, great to see, and so happy for them. And Brent, again, even with the damage, is out there just running them down. He's still running last, but he's actually lost some pace. He's down into the 52s where, Connor Mosack is still a 50.8 and Thomas Merrill's a 51.5. So they seem to be spreading this gap, and now Brent is kind of like really hurting Rafa as far as points. Rafa's looking at Brent saying, man, I need those points.
Yeah. It's now you start doing the calculations over the halfway point, and you're starting to think about the race and how it's panning out as we get these lovely drone shots. You see the gap between Cruz and Matos as they start snaking through past the hotel. It's a beautiful location for a race course, VIR.
Oh, this is my mom. Every time I say we're going to VIR, she goes, "Is that the really pretty place?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes, it's the beautiful, beautiful grounds here at VIR." And they do such an awesome job taking care of it here. And you know, I find us so fortunate to be here. And you know, it's just one of the all-time driver tracks. And then on top of it, it's like you're waking up in a state park. So it's just beautiful. I think a lot of the lap time we're seeing Brent lose is down these straightaways. He's got a lot of drag now with that hole in the front, and I believe that's what's costing him a lot of time down the straightaway.
Back on board with Rafa Matos with a 12-point lead coming into this race. Just settling at the moment to go about his business in 4th position. He's got my scheme behind him. What he doesn't want is another safety car.
No, absolutely not. No, that's Mosak is out there just praying that this thing keeps going the way it's going, and he can just keep hitting his marks. As we're on board with the youngster here, Dylan Archer. Dylan Archer, like I said, he's just outside the top 10, running in 11th. Now, you talk about somebody who's looking for a caution, that would be Dylan Archer.
Yeah.
Because if you look at him right now, it's like a lapping day for him. He doesn't have anyone to race with. He's just out there getting his laps, which are awful important. But we're here to race, right? He was out there kind of mixing it up for that top 10, you know, with Robert Noerker, who's running out that top 10 in that 03 Ford Mustang.
Yeah, like I said, a change of teams for Dylan. Had a chat with him earlier in the weekend. Got a new sponsor at Nashville. He's got another electric bike as well as the official electric bike that we have, which is, of course, Buzz. But he has a different manufacturer, and they were introduced at Nashville. But he's kept those family colors of FPEC, but now with Franklin Road, so part of Ken Thwaites' stable of cars. And what a change around for Ken Thwaites in the last few years. I mean, he started off driving an Audi on his own. He had a spare car, mind you, but he's gone from that to now having 4 cars.
Yeah, Showtime Motorsports is growing exponentially, and Ken Thwaites is obviously falling in love with this. He's got the support of his wonderful wife Shelley, and they're having a ball, and it's just all. That's what Trans Am's about. Whenever people add to this paddock, it's big smiling faces, like Nitro Motorsports with Nick Tucker. You got Showtime Motorsports with Ken Thwaites. Adrian Vlastowski, who's come in the last few years, another great addition to this paddock. It shows why there's more than just one reason that Trans Am is a place to race. It's more than just this race car package of TA2 or TA. It's more than just the competition. It's the entire tire package itself. It's like a wonderful family to have here. I've certainly experienced that every weekend I'm here. I've really experienced it this weekend, and I'm just so appreciative of everyone at Trans Am for what they provide me and my family.
Asio Data on board with Barry Bowes, the number 32, currently in, 23rd place. He's chasing down Aaron Pettypass. We heard from the pit wall earlier on from his brother. He's down in 22nd place, just behind Brocha. Maurice Hull going well in 20th position at the moment for Silver Air Racing.
Yeah, it's certainly strung out. I gotta say, I'm very, very proud of these TA2 competitors. They've got it wrapped tight when it happened here during race time. I know that the race officials, I believe, were pulling their hair out during the practice sessions this weekend, Jonathan Green, because it seemed like we could get like 2 green laps, and then we were black flag all.
Well, I heard rumor that Mr. Hoots got involved at some point and gave you all a bit of a talking to.
So maybe that's where we're at here. This is the 90, one of the Nitro cars. This is one of the one-offs that they had this weekend. Another youngster. I'm not sure 100% of who was in that car. Let me look at my notes here. We'll find out for you. But that was Thomas. That's Thomas Annunziata. And so he just had himself what we used to call in driving school an OCE, an off-course excursion.
Right. That's easy to explain.
Yeah, so that's a simple off-course excursion.
Now, we're not blaming him. It could have been another reason for that, but we did catch him mid-grass.
And while we were all watching that, Thomas Merrill went ahead and stuck his hand in his pocket, and he found that lap time again. And, you know, Connor might have gone out there and tried to run some of it and might have backing up now to Thomas, might have worn his stuff out a little bit. I'm just obviously speculating from the cheap seats up here, Jonathan Green, but That's kind of what I'm seeing. That's my best guess.
Yeah, going back to Annunziato, I mean, that's a shame. He was in 12th position, so he was going well, just behind Dylan Archer, so he was having a good run until that moment.
Absolutely. Like I said, they're kind of all spread out, so it was a little bit of a lapping day for him. He had no one to target off of, so maybe he might have lost his marks a little bit or lost where he was. Concentration, you lose it for a split second, it could cause those things, or it might have just had a slight problem. You never know without a replay. But this is a good battle between Cameron Lawrence and Robert Noack are there for the 9th and 10th place, as Scott Borchetta has separated himself from this in P8, and he's all alone by himself, making it an easy day's work. Holding himself a pretty wheel right there, hard on the throttle. Oh, and we got a wreck here. Ty Young.
Big time. Ty Young going big time off in the 22.
This will bring out that full course caution.
Yeah, no question.
Mosak and Merrill did not want to see, but definitely Brent Cruz and Rafa Matos wanted to, as that gap had separated quite a bit. It was 4 seconds between them and the leaders, but this is a your time. We're going to get a replay right here.
Well, guys, tell me what you see here. Why did this happen? Oh, he got a nudge.
I believe this is impatient from our leader. Yeah, this would have been that was that put damage into
this
our...
could change the whole face of the race. So
that's big,
impatience by the leaders, taking Ty Young out.
Yeah,
but more importantly, Merrill is out too.
Man,
he got a heavy hit, and Thomas Merrill is smoking.
Yeah, he's a victim of the circumstance there. That was he
but
got.
Surely that was Mosak's fault.
Yeah, I think the stewards are not going to look favorably along Connor Mosak on that one, and this is playing right into Rafa Matos' hands for the championship.
And we're
on
still
both sides.
here.
Yeah, on both sides it is, because Merrill's obviously this is detrimental to their shot.
He's got advantage as well. He's through.
So this is detrimental to Merrill, and then this is also it looks like Connor Mosak could be facing penalties. So this is possibly playing right into the hands of your championship leader.
Do you think Merrill's staying out because he wants the caution? Well, he's pulled over now.
Well,
but,
he's there for the points, right? If the car's still driving, you're going to stay out. You know, this is all about the points, and it doesn't look like we're going to get a full course caution. I believe Ty Young might have kept going. So I think we're going to get another replay to diagnose this crash here. And
let's take a look.
And we're taking another look here.
So the man you're looking at, Ty Young in the 22, is in front of the leaders. Mosak is leading the race. Merrill's right there. He's under pressure to get past Ty Young, but he's under too much pressure because he nerfs Ty Young out of the way, and Ty has no choice but to hit Merrill.
Yeah, he hit this, and I mean that took out Merrill. That was it, and hate to see that. Those are 2 Cope cars right off the bat, right? Ty Young is underneath the Mike Cope 10. And then we got someone off here at the top of 10 that I see on the top of your screen, all the dust over there. That's someone trying to get their John Deere sponsorship, as we see grass all up inside of Rafa's car here. So full course caution finally. I believe we are looking at a full course caution finally.
Now, where does that stand in terms of where Matos is, who looks as though he's got problems to the front of his car? You can see that grass coming up. Cruz is still in the race. Mosak, I believe, is still going. That was the 76 going off a bit of grass tracking, like you say, going for the John Deere Award.
Yeah, that's Durbin in the 76.
That's Chris Durbin, yeah.
Yeah, that's Chris Durbin. But look at all the grass everywhere, boy. There's going to be probably some possible overheatings. Thomas finally had a left rear tire come down, but boy, I hate to see it for those guys. That was just such a bad victim of circumstance there.
The big question now is, how's it going to play out with Connor Mosak? Is he get a penalty?
Yeah, good question.
If
well, look, let's head down to the pit lane, see what Ben's got.
Well, lots of drama here, as you can see, gentlemen. They're jacking up the car. In second place in points, Thomas Merrill, who was hit by Ty Young, his own teammate. He couldn't make it back around. He came through this escape road, is down here on what I call the apron of pit lane, very intelligently just trying to get off, and so they can fix the tire so he can save as much of the points for the championship. I'm not even sure if this is legal, but this is the Cope team giving it everything they can to get their driver, Thomas Merrill, back out there. They're taping up some things. We've seen Thomas do a lot with a little at Nashville at the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and he's going back out on track. Talk to one of the Cope guys if you're still with me. What? I don't even know if this is legal. What did Thomas say?
He didn't say a whole lot. He's a little disappointed with his teammate right now. We don't know what really happened, but obviously he got into him a little bit, so it is what it is. It's kind of a bad deal for the Cope Race Cars Bridge Hall team. Running for the championship here. That's going to be just got to put it down in.
Great job, Ben. And yeah, I don't know where that stands in the rule book, because he came off track and came back to the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? That's for minds that are better than mine to review, and you know, that's going to be a tough call to make. But these are racers just trying to keep the race car on the track, and at some point, you know, we gotta look at that and possibly even commend that, because you know, it's all about all-out effort, and they're putting in that all-out effort. What we saw in that replay there, Tyler Cassera got a little loose, but what I saw ahead of that was Rafa was dropping a lot of grass, a lot of sod in front of him. So I'm wondering if Rafa might have had a moment before Oaktree, and that is what has caused that a lot of that grass to be put out. And when Tyler was trying to accelerate through there, it got himself a little loose. But certainly looked like that's what the replay was showing us. But it looks like, I think our time has been up for Austin Green. So thanks, Austin Green, for coming up here and spend some time in the booth.
Thanks for coming up, buddy.
Fine young man, and you know, got a bright future in front of him. So look for him in the future.
All right, well, let's take a short break. We'll be back with more action and some more folks coming up in the booth after this.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim: to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
Okay. Welcome back to VIR. It's been a, well, dramatic race. We're under caution again in our TA2 race, and the championship is very much on the line, simply because Thomas Merrill's been in trouble, Mosak's been in trouble, and we think that Rafa Matos might be in trouble too. Let's get the latest. Let's head down to the pit lane with Ben Sissel.
Hey, welcome back. First of all, I do want to clarify, I did hear from Ricky Brooks that was a legal tire change down there. I had some questions about that. He said it was, but now I'm with Scott Lagasse Jr. with M1 Race Cars, currently leading the race. What's Connor saying on the radio?
He's not saying a lot right now. You know, I'm pretty proud of that kid and what he's become over the last year. He's fast. He's really, really fast and matured a lot. We threw a pretty major change at him this weekend and forced him to figure out if it could race, you know, get a race car that could race really well. So this Team SLR group worked hard all weekend, making a lot of changes, some late nights, but looks like he's made the right calls from the seat. And that to me is extremely proud to see the growth he's had here.
Yeah, and you know firsthand that VIR can go really bad really fast. What kind of words of wisdom are you giving him when he's out there battling with the Thomas Merrills, Rafa Matos, and Brent Cruz?
You know, you try to just focus moving forward, right? Like, hit your marks, don't make mistakes. You know, when you do make a mistake, understand it, learn from it. You know, you're hard on him, you give him the truth. And like I said, he responds so well to stuff like that it's pretty easy come race time. We try to get a lot of that out of the way in practice.
Perfect. Well, that's Scott Lagasse Jr. there with Connor Mosak, who's doing really well for his points. Gentlemen, back to you.
Thanks, Ben. Great stuff. And I'm joined under caution in the booth by one of our stars, without a doubt, of the last year or so. Matthew Brabham joins us. He'll be racing in action in the race tomorrow, TA. Fastest so far, am I right in saying?
I don't know if I'm the fastest today. I think Chris has got me by a little bit, but yeah, usually it's been pretty good, especially when I'm driving his car. But no, he's got a really fast one this weekend, and he's been in before, and I haven't raced at this track in those fast of a cars. So I'm building up my courage in the S's, and we were really close. I think it was like a couple of tenths after the last practice.
I never thought I'd be in a booth with an Andretti and a Brabham, but I've got to say, Adam, you'll appreciate this. This guy is killing it in Indy Lights.
Oh, yeah.
Almost won the championship, but he's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. He's been there already. He's killed it in the monster trucks, and he's doing it in Trans Am too.
I always say this. I mean, I told you earlier where I put Mike Skeen on, in the top 1% of drivers. My Brabham is in the same boat, 100%. And I tell you, like, the most impressive thing that I've driven with Matt or watched him drive, I expect him to perform the way he does in an Indy Lights car. I expect him to perform the way he does in a Trans Am car. Those stadium super trucks are by far the hardest freaking thing you can drive. And this guy hops in them like it's nothing and beats Robbie Gordon handily. Like the guy that built the things, designed them, ramps, the whole bit, drives them more than anybody. This is the guy that beats him more times than not. So as we see him, Boris getting towed off here in the 86. Been a rough day for Peterson Racing with Rafa, the only remaining Peterson Racing car out there for the three-dimensional services group. But nonetheless, Matt Brabham, he's a star, man.
I've got a story for you.
This guy's awesome.
When I was at Nashville, I saw him and I said, hang on a minute, you're doing the lights. I said, you do a Trans Am, why don't you do stadium trucks? And he just sort of looked at me and went, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. I mean, you're buttering me up here. It's real
It's
nice
okay.
here, yeah. But, thanks, Dad. I mean, we raced against each other in the trucks a couple of times, and it was a lot of fun. But Adam's, like, slightly responsible for me being over here in the Trans Am. I was in Coda racing with my dad in the Formula B cars in the Brabhams, and then... and Chris couldn't make it last minute, and I was talking to Adam, and he's like, hey, you should talk to Chris, and then we all kind of got linked up, and that's really how I first got that one opportunity in Coda with the TA1s, and yeah, since then it's just been a dream. I mean, the cars are so much fun to drive. I mean, TA and obviously the racing in this series here is unbelievable, but I mean, we're fast at the end of the straight. Like I've never felt a car that fast at the end of a straight, and when you got the blind corners here at VIR, I mean, there's no better feeling. I mean, the super trucks are fun. They're probably one of the most fun things, but yeah, the Trans Am and the TA1 and the speed that we do, I mean, it's pretty hard to beat. I mean, I have a blast.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you really do. You're still at an age where you can choose to race whatever you want. What is it about Trans Am you like?
The speed and and yeah, I like to go fast. No, but it's just the speed. But there's also a lot of history with Trans Am too. I mean, obviously the name, the Brabham. I've heard a lot of stories growing up as a kid, and it makes that a little bit more special when you got such a big history behind a series like that, and to be a part of it. And you watch all those documentaries when you're younger, and the highlight reels of different things, and hearing the stories from your parents, and it's definitely a really cool series to be a part of. And the thing that excites me is just you can, especially here at VIR, you're going over the crests down the back straight, you're doing like 150 miles an hour, and you go from 4th to 5th, and it's still wheel spinning. It's having that kind of power. I mean, it's rare to find these days. I mean, even like the open wheel cars don't have this much power. They're more momentum and they're more high speed cornering, but when you get a car that has not a lot of grip and it's always fun.
And I caught a Ricky Bobby in there. He likes to go fast. But yeah, absolutely. I couldn't echo those sentiments enough. I mean, that's why we all love Trans Am racing is the purest of the racing and the power and the speed. And it gives it all to you here. And we love having you here, Matt.
Well, Matt, you join us at the perfect time because we've had all sorts of drama in this. The championship's on the line. You know what's going on. We're about to go green again. Before we do, Adam, is Mossack going to get pinged for this? Or is this... what we're looking at is the race?
That's a very challenging call from next door there. We're downstairs with David Hoots, and it's a very challenging call, and I wouldn't want to be in his shoes right now at all because that's going to be a tough one.
But he's unscathed.
Well, he is unscathed, and it all comes down to that you have lap traffic, and we want lap traffic to behave in a certain manner just to stay in their place. So there's two sides to every story, and we're going to go green right here, Jonathan.
Well, I'll make my prediction. Matos is going to stay where he is, and Skeen and Brent Cruz are going to have an almighty battle. And here we go. Green flag waves, and we're heading down towards that first corner. The Mission Foods turn 1, and as I said, Brent Cruz and Mossack going at it, but right there is Skeen and Rafa Matos holding off the rest of the field, which is still a huge field. 25 of the 31 laps completed.
Yeah.
We're joined by Matthew Brabham and Adam Andretti as we go back on board with Scott Borchetta.
This is exactly what we needed out of this race, Jonathan Green. Honestly, I know the drivers, some of them are hating it, but a guy like Scott Borchetta is stoked, right? Because he's back in the mix. He's right behind Tyler Casera, Robert Noacker, or excuse me, Evan Slater right up there, pardon me. And, you know, he's hunting there for the top 5. So good to see Evan still stuck in this top 5. He's been gritty all day long, just making sure he's hitting his mark, staying smart. He's going to put together hopefully a good finish with only 6 laps left here. But it is, and you see Thomas Merrill, he is making his way up through the field here. Watch Thomas Merrill come through this field and make as many points as he can.
Yeah, it's an interesting start. And Matt, you were just coming up the stairs, but it all kind of fell apart because what happened was Ty Young, who's teammate to Thomas Merrill, and they got into a fisticuffs effectively, and Merrill had the back end of his car ripped off. He went back into the pits, sort of, or at least pulled off, and yeah, that's where we are now.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating around here with a little slower traffic, isn't it, Matty Brabham?
Yeah, the speed difference could be massive, but I mean, these guys, it just seems like they're always leaning on each other just a little bit to get those positions, and it's a hard track to pass on. So I think when you do get an opportunity, you just have to really take it. And with a couple of laps to go here, I mean, I think everyone, like, no one's saving anything. They're just trying to burn everything to the ground and go to the finish and get whatever they can, right?
I mean, you could be 8 seconds a lap faster than somebody here at VIR, but if you're stuck behind him at the wrong place, Matt, you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. You're just stuck.
It's an easy track to defend, but when you have a track that you can defend like this too, it makes it more tempting just to rub on that rear bumper and knock him out of the way, right? So I could definitely see that. I missed a lot of what happened, but I mean, I could definitely see people just wanting to just lean on the rear bumper a little bit more than they need to, right?
Here's a good replay of the restart. We got a shot up behind it. Look at Barry Bowes. Looks like he got a little help on the restart. Got spun around. And I did see Boris Jr. They got Boris said Jr. back in the 89. Peterson Racing did. So I retract my statement. You got Rafa and Boris said Jr. still out there for Peterson Racing, getting valuable laps for the youngster there, Boris said Jr.
They're sliding the rear end at the front there. I mean, you can see the cars wiggling off, and I don't know if it's like a little bit of like bumper rubbing here and there, but I mean, yeah, as I said, they're going to have nothing left on the rear of these cars at the end.
There's Thomas Merrill coming through. He's at 12 at the moment, is Thomas. So he could pick up some very important points here. Surely, though, Skeen in third at the moment is going to make his move down the back straight. We go on board with Tyler Casera now as they come towards Oak Tree.
Tyler Casera is doing a good job right behind his teammate here, Evan Slater, and they're kind of in a nice little train here. Evan Slater's right behind the champion, Rafa Matos there, and he is definitely looking and chomping at the bit. I see Evan Slater maybe making a run to get up into that 4th place here before the end of this race.
So here we go. Skeen looking for his way past Cruz. This is your top 3. Lap 26 of 31. Coming down roller coaster again. Skeen as close as he's been. Rafa Matos in a waiting, holding pattern, if you will, in 4th position.
Now, Rafa's right where he needs to be as far as maintaining his points and with Thomas, you know, Barry back. But again, you can't discount what Connor Mosack has done. If this performance stands for Connor, you're looking at leading the most laps, pole position, leading. He got 5 bonus points, maximize his bonus points for the weekend. That's going to be a hard one to beat. Now, he only came in 16 behind, so he might be the biggest protagonist going into COTA for Rafa Matos, depending on how this all sorts out, because Thomas Merrill isn't letting the grass grow under his feet. We got to move for the lead there.
That was a big dive bomb right there.
That was Brent Cruz making a move for the lead.
And it opened up the door for Mike Skeen. Mike Skeen wants a piece of this action too.
Well, that was a really good move by Brent Cruz, because I don't think anybody, at least Mosack, did not expect that. And Brent Cruz, the young 14-year-old, takes the lead.
And he's opened up the gap, and this is really just puts a pounding right to what I just said about Connor Mosack and the bonus points. I mean, he will still get those ones that I talked about, leading most laps and leading a lap, but man, that was, you really want those race win points, especially.
You know, in the Young Guns competition, these two are going head-to-head. Connor Mosack started the day 14 points ahead of Brent Cruz, and Brent Cruz is ahead of him now. Let's take a look at what happened in that overtake.
Well, that's a beautiful pass. Look at that right there in turn 4.
Beautiful.
Turn 3, yeah.
Connor
Turn 3
turned
and 4.
in, and unfortunately, there was a blue and white car there.
Yeah, it was a perfect placement. You know, he just got off the brake, sent it in there, and just rolled the corner speed, and the car still turned. Like you're always, when you dive down the inside, you're waiting for that front to give up, and then you just end up using them as the corner, right? But he held it. He held on the inside, and it was like a pretty clean pass, and that was textbook. And I think Skeen is now seen like what just happened in front of him, and I think he's going to be like, oh, I don't want to lose the leader. Like I still want a chance at this win, and he's going to be thinking about the same thing, right?
The real secret is driving with Andretti and Brabham. We're getting it here. Buy the book later.
Skeen was my pick at the beginning of the weekend. I sat there and I flat told him that. He goes, I hope so, but you know, and he plays the humble Mike Skeen game, but he was totally my pick at the beginning of the weekend, and he's showing and proven right here that's definitely a formidable pick. He could be right there, and he's right there in the mix of it. But Brent Cruz got to the point of this field, and he's not looking back. He is definitely, like you said, he said a Hail Mary. He tucked it in there, and he made it stick. And
he had the grip, looked great on the inside line there. So that
it did.
You know, that could be good for blocking at the end of the race too, but I'm surprised. It looked like he was just going to pull out of that corner, and he had better traction, and he was just going to run away with this race, but it looks like Mosak's coming right back on him, and he's staying with him. Like, you know, it's still on. And
that's the hardest thing to do in TA2 is just pull off and leave.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do.
I guess it would be with the aero, right? Like you get quite a big toe down the straight, and everyone kind of can stay with each other, and
I call them 500 horsepower Miatas because they, you know, it is a momentum car. Like you said, the draft, you punch such a big hole. The draft plays a part in it, and I say that jokingly and lovingly, but it's absolutely true. And we see Thomas. He's coming up through this pack. He's made his way almost into the top 10 here.
Well, he's got a light fuel load, but a light car load too, because he's taken half the metal off it.
And we were just talking about the draft too, and with that missing bodywork, that doesn't help. Like, that's like a parachute down the straight.
Yeah, exactly. You took the words out of my mouth, man. So I might as well throw the chute out or open up a garage door, and you're good to go.
Well, Merrill doing everything he can to get as many points as he can. He's at 11 at the moment. Brent Cruz at the front leads the rookies. He started the day on 192 points ahead of Evan Slater, and he'll increase that lead, and he'll also close the gap on Mosak if they stay where they are for the Young Guns trophy.
And he gets that fastest lap. I believe that's more than one Omologato watch for that young man. So I'm going to ask him if I can have one. No, I'm just teasing, but it's a really wonderful prize that we have here in the Trans Am Series for these young guns. And he's got himself, he's got more watches than he has wrists. Let's just say that.
Then he's got time.
But he's got time.
Okay, 29 and 31. We don't have time because time is running out on this fantastic race run at the moment and led by Brent Cruz, who took an audacious move to take the lead. We're on board with Dylan Archer, but the battle at the front, Connor Mosak second, was involved in a big incident but didn't get any harm done to the car and has carried on. Mike Skeen's lost a bit of pace. He was all over Mosak and Cruz a moment ago, and now Rafa Matos has got the hurry up in the closing stages too. He'd like a pop at taking a podium spot away from Skeen.
Absolutely. You still see the grass on the inside of Matos' car when we go on board there. So he definitely had himself his own OCE off-course excursion at some point.
He looks like he's in one of those boxes where the money flies around. He's just trying to grab the grass out of the cockpit and put it down so he can see.
It's raining grass.
That's true. Yeah, it is.
I know, but it keeps coming. Where's it coming from?
I bet he wished it was money.
Yeah, I bet he does.
It's
almost as if he's trapped a bunch under the hood.
Yeah, I mean, if he had a big enough off here, you know, like I said, VIR keeps beautiful ground. So I'm sure it's freshly mowed before we got here, and I'm sure that's some of the grass clippings that we're seeing for a long time. But yeah, this has been an awesome race up front. That last-minute caution there has brought the pack up tight and close with each other. And again, we're coming here with 2 laps to go as we round around this time around, and it's going to be right down to the wire here.
It looks like Brent Cruz has just turned up the wick, and he's pulling the cars behind him away from each other because they're on his toe, but they're not being held up. So he's just kind of, you know, he's pulling the guys away from Skeen and.
Right, and Rafa's going in on the attack right now. He's wanting those extra points, right? Because, well, he sees Mosak right in front of Skeen and thinking, man, I wish Mike was in one of those 3-dimensional cars this week and I could get that spot.
Well, I got an update for you. I've been telling everyone about Brent Cruz and his quest to go young guns and rookies. Well, what about overall? He's 4th at the moment, 20 points behind Mosak. He's going to beat Mosak today, and Merrill's further down the pack. We are going to have a cracking end to this season, potentially at Coda.
Yeah, this is the tightest championship in all of motorsports. I mean, this is really exciting stuff. For all of our Trans Am fans, and new and old, you're getting a real treat here this season, the 2022 season in TA2, because Chris Dyson may have really just wrapped it up so early over there, made it so easy in TA, but we certainly have one going out of the wire here in TA2.
So Brent Cruz, slight damage to the front of that car, but he's not slowing up any. He made a brilliant move to take the lead in the number 70 in the Trackhouse painted car. And if NASCAR are watching, they have a cracking guy heading their way. Toyota have got their eye on him, but so too have other teams by the looks of things. We're back on board with Rafa Matos, our championship leader, who has managed, as he always does, to keep a very steady head on those Latin shoulders, because he's doing a good job of putting pressure on Skeen in the closing stages.
Absolutely he is, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do to manage his championship as well, you know, and I know that Rafa went in Dakota last year and just dominated. I mean, he had such pace on everybody that I know he's going in Dakota with that kind of in his pocket, feeling it. But you said it, Matt, this 70 car, Brent Cruz, he had that half a second in his pocket. He dug in there and got it right when he needed it and just has walked away. And you said it spread it out to where it's really given no one else a chance up here up front besides a battle between Skeen and Matos.
It looked like Mosak was in the tow, and I thought he would come back, but I think it was more of just, you know, Brent just pulling him away from the pack. And, I mean, it just looked like all those cars at the end, when they turned it up, you know, you just saw what people had left. And it obviously looks like Brent had the most left with his car, and he really looked after the tire and has the, you know, one of the best.
Mistake! And Matos goes through. Skeen makes a rare mistake, and Matos gets into a podium position in the final lap. Great move.
That was a big lock-up into turn 4. Very uncharacteristic of Mike Skeen. But, you know, even the best make mistakes. And it is human sport, and you're going to make mistakes. And that was just one of those uncharacteristic ones that we see out of Mike Skeen. But he's still running a strong P4 and MMR rate. MMR is going to be super happy with that. I know Jimmy Frazier and Dave and Norm, they're going to be really happy with that performance. Nick Tucker is going to be over the moon with this right here.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely what they've done at Nitro, what we have here in this young man is nothing short of special. And you're going to see here, looks like the left front's unloaded here, hard on the brakes. Oh, wait, that looked like a rear lockup, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he just looked like he overcooked it. I mean, obviously just a rare mistake, but
yeah,
once you get out wide there, you got no hope of bringing it back down the apex.
Right.
I mean, Rafa would take it. He's like, thank you very much. I'll take that. With the championship, I don't think he was going to pull a big Desperado move at the end there. So, you know, I think Skeen, all he had to do was just focus forward. But the cars are going off, the tires are going off, and they're getting harder and harder to drive. And, you know, you just don't know where everyone's car's at.
Right, well, here we go then. We're coming down to the checkered flag, and it has been cruise control for Nitro Motorsports as Brent Cruz takes it home brilliantly ahead of Connor Mosak. Rafa Matos, our championship leader, will remain at the front with that 3rd place. Mike Skeen, with that one rare mistake, drops to 4th. Tyler Casera will be 5th. Noah 6th. Slater, Lawrence, Archer. We're looking for where Merrill finished. That's 11th place, so good job done by Merrill and his team. But it all remains potentially in the steward's office as to decide who was right, who was wrong, who was making mistakes, who wasn't. My thanks to Matthew Brabham. And you'll be out in action when? Tonight for qualifying?
We qualify at 5 o'clock tonight, and then obviously race tomorrow. So, yeah, we're just waiting for all you guys to clean off the track, and then we'll go out and have some fun later tonight. But
we'll do it personally for you.
That was an unbelievable race. I mean, what a race to come in and commentate with you guys. Made it easy. I mean, that was exciting. I appreciate it.
Came right in at the right time. It was awesome having you, Matt. And good luck to you tomorrow. I know you're going to do great. I want to give a quick shout out. Elias Anderson, I want to say, he is the first. He is P10, the first of the privateers.
That's the first time I've seen him in the top 10 in a long time.
Yeah, that was an awesome run of Elias Anderson, and no disrespect to MMR, they're definitely privateers there with Mike Skeen. I apologize for that, but Elias really puts in huge effort to see him there in the top 10. Awesome job there. Darren Mock in P12, another good run for him. He's one of those Cope cars. Keith Prochuk as well, and their Tom Sheehan P14 bringing it home there, but. Rafa Matos in the Yellow Submarine, hold it there in P3, going to make sure that he takes this thing down Dakota again. And like you so aptly put it, Jonathan, this is not just a 3-way battle, right? No. We got Brent Cruz all right in the mix of it.
Yeah, he's definitely taking some points out of the leaders now. With Thomas Merrill finishing 11th, he's taking a lot of points out of both Merrill and Mosak. So watch this man come forward. He's not done.
No, he's more than not done. He's got a lot of racing to do in that young career, and like I said, this is just the tip, and to look at how talented he is and what kind of racecraft he's developed over this year, it's hard not to put him as a favorite moving forward.
So well done to Brent Cruz. Connor Mosack coming in, and he'll be just pleased to finish the race, I would have thought. But it was a very strange incident. If you missed it, Mosack was trying to push ahead and stop the pressure from behind him, and he came across Tai Young, who was one of the back markers, and almost pushed him out of the way. And well, we'll see. Sometimes the camera angles can belie what actually happened, so I won't judge it. But it was very interesting all the same. But we'll hear from them very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's two. You're always going to see that from two areas, right? If you're sitting in Scott Lagasse's camp, you're gonna be like, oh, we were being held up by a competitor, and he needed to get by. If you're looking at it from Mike Cope's camp, that contact ruined their race, and so there's always the two ways to look at it. And like I said, I don't want David Hooch's job today for nothing on that one. But awesome job here, Brent Cruz, young man. Celebrate, take it all in. You deserve it. Trackhouse, all that business. Yeah, that's a big hug, deserving, and what a great win for that young man. What a great win.
And if you're looking to the future of motorsport here in the US of A, look no further than this man, the number 70, Brent Cruz. Or maybe you should look at this man. Because no question about it, that was a performance well beyond his years, that's for sure.
Yeah, Nick Tucker giving a big embrace of his driver, and it's great for Nick too. It's always great as an owner and an engineer to see the capabilities of your labor, and a guy like Brent Cruz, a guy like Matt Brabham, Connor Mosack, Rafa Matos. These are people that my dad always said, those are your biggest fans, are the ones that are spinning the wrenches, and you see it right there, all that joy.
Well, I'm the biggest fan of Ben Sissel. He's down in the pits.
Oh, my goodness. Now with three-time winner Brent Cruz. Brent, how does that feel?
Just feels amazing. I just want to thank the Lord for everything he's done for me. This whole team has just been incredible. They just worked so hard on this thing. I want to thank Trackhouse Racing, K-Tech, Cope Cars, everybody that's put a hand on this thing. And I want to thank Franklin Road for jumping on board for this year and next year. And I just want to thank everybody here. I mean, this is an amazing track and an amazing place to win.
And like we said, every track is his first time at that track. 3 wins on the season. Nick Tucker, how does that feel? Team owner, crew chief, that's got to feel really good.
Well, it feels, really great, right? Brent, we've been together since he was 7 years old, and we just have great communication, and I couldn't ask for a better driver, right? I believed in him all along, and he really makes us look good.
Nice. I love it. Hold on. I'm going to embarrass your mom. Get in here. This has got to be so fun for you. 3 wins. I know you're so proud. How does it feel to be with the mom of such a great driver with such a high future ahead of him?
I mean, it's pretty incredible, but I think that anybody that's known Brent long enough knows that this is just what to expect. I mean, his future is bright, and no one can deny it.
I love it. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to send it back to you after a great TA2 battle.
Great stuff and great emotion too, and I think Brent Cruz is almost growing up in front of us. He started the season off, I remember talking to him at Sebring and then at Charlotte, and he really barely had a word to say, but he's grown up immensely, and he deserves to.
Like I said, if you have the time, or if you ever get the privilege to spend 10 minutes with him outside the race car, you're like, no way, you're a 14-year-old young man. I mean, he's so wise beyond his years. Brent Cruz with the win.
Yep, and a 1-2-3 for Ford, too. Well done to them. Nitro Motorsports, though. Brent Cruz leads the way. Connor Mosack in the Nick Taylor SLR M1 is second. The three-dimensional services group, Rafa Matos, our championship leader, is third. Mike Skeen takes fourth. Tyler Cicera is in fifth place. Robert Noack, a good result for him, in sixth position. Evan Slater, seventh. Cameron Lawrence in eighth position for Franklin Road Apparel. Then Dylan Archer and Elias Anderson rounding out the top 10, and one of the best results for the Texan this season. Further down, Thomas Merrill recovered well to 11th place. He'll score some decent points there, but will they be enough? Darren Mock, Prochuk, Sheehan, Leesfield, Pettypass, then Hull, Abate, Bowes, and Cale Phillips in 20th. Further down, Scott Borchetta, Sanders, Oot, Moore. Boris said finishes 25th, and John Atwell, then we saw the grass tracking from Annunziato in 27th, Durbin, Young, and Gallagher. And slightly further down, Boris Jr. out early, Gray, Paul, Zilic, Lostowski, Peterson, Barco, Birdwell, all going out very early on in this 100-mile race. So, plenty to talk about without a doubt here at VIR. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. It started off nice and clean with Connor Mosack on your left-hand side and Thomas Merrill on the left. But Merrill going around the outside, there's some shenanigans going on, Connor Zilic involved. Brent Cruz was just flying, absolutely flying. He gets past the championship leader, Rafa Matos. And then this moment, and Connor Mosack, Ty Young, and Merrill. And look at the back of Merrill's car, completely stripped down. He manages to pull it off circuit. They manage to change the wheel, and back out he goes to an 11th place all by the end of the race. But that was the move. Brent Cruz, superb through and taking the checkered flag for a brilliant win, hit VIR. Mosack second and Matos in third. Now, our chill-out moment, as we always do at the end of each of our TA2 and TA races, has to be the man of the moment, Brent Cruz, because he was just on great form. And he deserves our chill-out systems, chill-out, keep cool move of the race. And I suppose it has to be the overtake for the lead. Look at that. No touching, no rubbing, no scraping, just straight through. And that was superb racing. A tough corner, as always, here at VIR. Connor Mosack turns in, only to find a blue and white mass. And that mass was Brent Cruz, cruising home to victory. And he is our chill-out, keep cool move of the race.
Textbook is what you can do that. Yes, absolute textbook.
No question. We'll take a short break. We'll be back from VIR. More action to come. Stay with us here on the Speed Tour.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. I can play with my sister, I can play with my brother, I can play with my mother, my father, my family. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. This is my house.
This is my house.
Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine.
The next generation of communication is here with Allgram, the decentralized all-in-one communication platform. Your unique digital ID is hosted on the blockchain for the most secure peer-to-peer communication experience in the world. Chat, voice call, and video call seamlessly, triple encrypted, and decentralized. That means you're protected. We can't share, sell, or use your data in any way. Nobody is accessing your data, and Allgram validates every user on the blockchain. Plus, the app just works really well. Schedule calls and meetings, or create private or public clubs to use however you want. This is Allgram. Simplified, secure communication. Your data is yours.
If your tooling isn't quite ready, and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low-volume production, 3-Dimensional Services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. 3-Dimensional Services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. 3-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.
As you can tell, I like to go fast. Our race team is really well prepared. We like to look good, but we also like to dress good, and that's why we shop at Franklin Road Apparel. I own the company, and I wear the clothes that we sell in that store. So check us out. We carry all the top brands: Baldwin, John Barbados, Billy Reed, Goodman brand, and on down the list. So come see us. Franklin Road Apparel, Franklin, Tennessee.